Hello and welcome to Beginning JavaScript and jQuery, Section 6, More jQuery Fun. In this section, we're going to look at playing with forms in jQuery, some CSS tricks and effects we can use with jQuery, and last we'll take a very brief look at events in jQuery. So let's get started with video 6.1, Playing with Forms. In this video, we're going to look at jQuery plugins and then how we can use those plugins to validate forms for the user. So what is jQuery plugins? jQuery plugins are some additional jQuery scripts that we can use to extend the base functionality of the jQuery library. They can be downloaded from this URL that we'll take a look at. And there's also another way we can download them, which I'll cover very briefly once we get to the website. And in this video, we will talk about the jQuery UI plugin, and we will actually use the jQuery Validate plugin to validate user input on a form. So let's go ahead and talk about jQuery UI. And what it is it's a set of UI related plugins. And this adds some additional functionality that we can use for widgets, some additional effects that's not included with the base jQuery product, some interactions, and then one of the best features of the jQuery UI plugin is themes. These are very quick and easy ways that you can, change the look and feel of your website or web application, whatever you're using jQuery for. And, it's almost like if you're familiar with WordPress, it's a theme for, kind of like how WordPress themes change the look and feel of the WordPress installation. Same thing with jQuery UI's themes. And the information is available at jQueryui.com. So let's go ahead and head over there. So this is the jQuery UI website. And here, you can learn information about the jQuery UI plugin. All the, you can see the different demos and documentation for everything that's included. One of the best features for jQuery UI is this date picker. It's a great little widget to have users use to pick a date, and the tooltip's pretty good too. You can see all this here, and you can get, they have a get started guide, and they have a demo for everything that you'll use. And then you can also learn some information about the themes, and you can use what's called here theme roller to create your own theme. You can go through here, set the corners, how rounded you want the corners, you can set the font, everything. And then what you'll do is when you're done going through all this, you can click on download theme, and it will give you the theme files that you would put in with jQuery. And all that information on how to use that is here. We're not going to cover that due to time constraints. And while we're over here, let's go ahead and look at the plugin repository for jQuery. Now you'll notice that there's a little note right here saying we recommend moving to NPM. If you're not familiar with NPM, that is Node Packet Manager. That's part of Node, which is way outside of the scope of this course. So that's kind of why I'm just doing this the old-fashioned way of the jQuery plugin registry. You can go through here and you can see the different plugins for jQuery, and you can click on them and search. And what I recommend, anytime you want to use a plugin for jQuery, kind of pay attention to some of the information over here to see when it was made and the version. And you come through here, when you find one you want to use or you're interested in, you can come over here and check the last time it was updated. See, this one hasn't been updated since 2014. So, keep that kind of stuff in mind when you go to download a plugin. So Now let's talk about jQuery Validate. And what it is a plugin that allows some simple client-side validation for forms. You can also actually, create your own custom methods for validation, or you can use some of the ones they have. They have lots of built-in validation, and that includes proper email formatting, URL formatting, min length of a of a string that the user has to type, and the information for it is available at jQueryvalidation.org. Which if you go over to that website, here's information about it. They got a little video. We're going to look at an example here in a moment, but you can kind of go through here, and if you get into using npm or Bower, they got the information right here on how you can download this via one of the packet managers. If you're a Visual Studio user, you can also download it through NuGet. Then here's the old-fashioned CDN links. So you can go on through here and just look at the documentation and everything. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at how we can use this to validate forms. And with that, we go over to WebStorm. So as you can see here, I'm actually using jQuery UI loaded in here, and I have jQuery Validate. Again, anytime you use these plugins, you need to make sure that you're loading jQuery itself first. If we try to load these plugins first before we load jQuery, it's going to give us an error, and the page isn't going to load. So code-wise, here I have just a little bit of CSS for the form. And I have just a very basic form, just ask for the user's full name, and then for their email address. That's it for the form. And then to actually get this validation to work, we use this right here. This one little line will give you some validation to use for forms to make sure that the user, gives us the correct email format, whatever you want to use. This is all done via this one little call to .validate. And this, like I said, this is a very simple example. If you look on the jQuery Validate website, they actually have a more in-depth and fuller example of how you can use all sorts of different validation, not just one type of validation on an input field, but several at one time. So I implore you to go look at that as well as this. So we have our code here. Let's go ahead and save it and go back to Chrome. And here we have this is what the form looks like. So if I just type chip, it needs to be 5 characters. Well, it pops up and tells me that it needs to be 5 characters. And with CSS, you can actually style this and make it look a lot better. You can actually have it highlight the text input for the user to kind of grab their attention a little bit more. This is just a very, like I said, this is a very basic example. So if I come over here to email, if I start typing, I just type some stuff here, then click back over. It tells me that I need to enter a valid email address. So, you can see this client validation and, going, and what we could do is, if I had a submit button, we could actually force the user to not be able to submit until they corrected this stuff. And that's all done via the jQuery Validate plugin.